Hello and welcome. Let me, as so many seldom do, begin with a moment of stark honesty. The majority of Westerners who pitch up in Isaan with stars in their eyes and bankruptcy in their future are following a script so predictable it could be sold as a tragedy at the foyer. This is not a guide. Think of it less as a welcoming committee and more as the bloke standing at the gate with a clipboard, a weary sigh and a list of all the ways you are about to make a spectacular fool of yourself. I am here to perform an unvarnished autopsy on the Isaan dream, and I have bought my sharpest scalpel. So, pour a drink, preferably something strong, and prepare for a diagnosis you probably did not ask for, but almost certainly need. The Isaan dream. It has a certain ring to it, does it not? It wafts through online forums like a seductive, cheap whiskey-scented breeze. Visions of living like a colonial-era prince on a pensioner's budget. A teak palace for the price of a garden shed back in Clunkton. Endless sun, simpler folk, and a beautiful, compliant partner who thinks your dad bod is exotic. It is glorious nonsense, a fantasy woven from internet fibs and desperation. The first rude awakening is not the heat, it is the arithmetic. You have done the sums. Good Lord, my state pension is 40,000 baht a month. I am a king. Then reality, that most tedious of guests, arrives. The possible visa runs, the actual cost of a car that will not dissolve in the rust-inducing soup we call air. The private hospital bill for that prostrate issue you did not factor into your idyllic sunset years. On top of that, inflation. It does not care that you are living your dream. Your 40k starts to feel less like a throne and more like a moderately comfortable stool. Then there is the infrastructure. You imagine rural as a Constable painting. What you get is a symphony of chaos. Power cuts during the crucial final episode of your detective show, water the colour of weak tea, and internet sometimes slower than a three-toed sloth navigating treacle. Your romanticised version of a quiet farm life is punctuated at 5 a.m. by the village loudspeaker blaring moorland music or announcements about a missing chicken. It is not idyllic, it is just loud. Now, I wade into the cultural quagmire. Most arrive with the cultural sensitivity of a bull in the proverbial china shop. A china shop that also happens to be a temple, a family home, and a bureaucracy. The cardinal sin. Believing your Thai partner is your cultural translator, your human shield against all things confusing. You become a giant toddling child, utterly dependent. Darling, what did he say? What do I do? Why is everyone laughing? You create not a partnership, but a parent-child dynamic. The power imbalance is staggering, and it sounds faster than milk left in the sun. When the only thread connecting you to this entire country is one person, you are not living here. You are a very long-term tourist attached to a guide. The gaffes are endless. The jovial head pat to a child, deeply offensive. The shoes left on in a house, a sign of being a barbarian. The loud, argumentative manner of solving a problem, the quickest way to make everyone dig his or her heels in while smiling politely. You stomp around in a cloud of ignorance, wondering why the locals, while unfailingly polite, never quite invite you in. You are not mysterious. You are a mildly stressful novelty. I will tell you a little story. Chap I knew, Brian, decided to help the village by buying a brand new shiny metal letterbox for the headman to replace his old wooden one. Thought it was a grand gesture. Utterly baffled when it was received with thin smiles and never used. You see, the old wooden one was made by the headman's late father. The new one was just a cold, loud clang of cultural arrogance. Brian never did understand. He is back in Croydon, now probably wondering why ties are so inscrutable. Which brings me on to the tender subject of money, the great lubricant and destroyer of dreams here. You are not just a man. You are a farang wallet, a walking, talking ATM with legs. This is not necessarily malice. It is often simple economics. You have, the extended family likely has not. The buffalo is sick. The mother needs a new roof. The nephew's motorbike needs repairing. The list is as endless as the rice fields. The naivety is breathtaking. Blokes who have never budgeted for a pub lunch back home suddenly find themselves signing off on a land purchase they do not understand in a name that is not theirs for a family they met 3 months ago. They confuse financial utility with love, and the heartbreak, when it comes, is both emotional and financial. It is not a marriage, it is a fiscal policy with a dowry. Besides, when the money gets tight or the demands become too great, the unconditional love often reveals its very clear conditions. Furthermore, all of this is compounded by the towering, soul-crushing barrier of language. Most will not learn more than hello, thank you, and same again, please. They exist in a bubble of grunts, gestures, and over-reliance on Google Translate. Have you ever tried to discuss a plumbing issue or a nonce feeling with a robot? Here's a farce. This is not about fluency. It is about effort. It is about the sheer, unadulterated isolation of sitting in a room full of people laughing and having not the faintest clue why. It is the loneliness that creeps in after the honeymoon phase, when you realise you cannot have a real conversation with anyone but other grumpy expats at the bar, moaning about the same things. You have moved across the world to be alone in a crowd. Years can pass, and you remain a permanent spectator, a ghost in your own life. The honeymoon phase. Everything is charming, exotic, and adventure. The strange food, the chaotic markets, the cold showers. How authentic. It wears off. It always does. Around month 6 to a year, the adventure curdles into a routine, and the frustrations rise to the surface. The loss of identity is profound. You are no longer Dave the electrician. You are just the farang. The mental toll is the great unspoken. The isolation, the simmering resentment, the depression that they dare not voice because I am supposed to be living the dream, am I not? So they sit in their increasingly shabby houses staring at the internet connection that is sometimes too weak to stream a video call with their grandchildren, wondering where it all went wrong. So, is it all doom and gloom? Must every story end with a one-way ticket back to drizzle and despair? Not necessarily. However, the ones who make it, they are not the dreamers. They are the pragmatic, the humble, and the observers. They learn a little of the language, painfully, slowly. They integrate without demanding to be the centre of attention. They manage their money and their relationships with clear eyes. They accept Isaan for what it is: beautiful, harsh, complex, and utterly indifferent to their romantic fantasies. They trade the dream for reality and find, to their surprise, that reality, while harder, has more substance. They, they stop trying to build a little England in the rice paddies and start learning how to properly grow rice. Now then, if this has stirred something in you, a flicker of recognition, a defensive flurry, or perhaps a prudent slither of doubt, do let me know in the comments below. Tell me I'm a cynical old goat. Share your own disaster story, or ask the question you are now too afraid to ask. The conversation, as they say, is now open. Just remember, paradise is not a place you find on a map. It is a state of mind you pack in your suitcase. Besides, most of you, I am afraid, have come decidedly underprepared. Take care and goodbye.